a story about how I became right-handed. Being from the South, when I was little, I was really left-handed. I like to use my left hand for everything. I lived with my grandparents, and my grandmother really did not like the fact that I was going to be left-handed. So back then it was, it was called the hand of the devil if you were left-handed. And left-handed people grew up to become misfits and scoundrels. But when I was in the second grade, my whole life changed. Because my uncle, on Sunday afternoon, would pick us up, me and the cousins, and he would take us to the biggest hole in Florida. And this hole was so big that you couldn't even climb to the bottom of it. But I made it to the bottom one day. But first, let me tell you about the hole. In the 1700s, the Indians in Florida thought this was a sacred place, this hole. And in the bottom of the hole, you could find dinosaur bones, and you could find shark's teeth, and you could find Indian pottery, and arrowheads, and they worshipped this area. And in the 1800s, somebody gave it a name, and they called it Devil's Millhopper. Now, a millhopper is what the grain goes into when they grind it on the mill wheel. And it's a big basket. And this hole in the ground was like a big basket. So we used to go out there on Sunday afternoons, and it was our wild place. We could climb, we could climb trees, we could climb down in there. We would come home with pockets full of arrowheads and shark's teeth. And this is right in the middle of the state in Gainesville, Florida. But one Sunday afternoon, my uncle took us out, and somebody said, you know, we should tie a rope up in that tree so we can swing out over this 154-foot deep hole and prove how brave we are. And so we all gathered around the tree. We talked about it, and somehow I got elected to climb the tree. So I head up the tree, and they say, pick that limb, tie it on that limb there. And they kept pointing to this particular limb. And so I said, okay, and I cinched down on the limb, and the tree started shaking, and it kept shaking and shaking and shaking, and all of a sudden the tree just fell right over the hole. And it would got even with the top of the hole, the tree stopped. But I kept going. And I hit the first time, and they tell me I hit 2 more times before I got to the bottom. And they said, and there's a foot of water in the bottom, and they said, oh, you bounced about 4 feet in the air once you hit the bottom. But I don't remember that. Going up the other side, I woke up, and somebody was carrying me up the other side, and he said, my name's Dave. You're going to be okay. And now whenever I read a book, and it's been a while since I read a book, and somebody asks me what the main character's name is, you know who I'm telling? Oh, that was Dave. If I can't remember somebody's name, it's automatically Dave. So 3 days later, Wednesday, I wake up in the hospital. And across the room, it's early in the morning, and across the room I see this figure of somebody sleeping in a chair. And my first thought that, I kind of knew it was my mother, but my first thought was, why does she have to sleep in a chair? You know, why didn't they get her a bed to sleep in? And I didn't really realize at that time that my whole body was in traction. You know, and it took a while to recover, you know, but I had pretty much broken the left side of my body. And so I couldn't do my schoolwork because I was left-handed. So this woman came to the hospital every day. She'd go by the elementary school and she'd pick up my schoolwork. This woman had been one of my dads, and she'd been retired for a while. But she loved our family, and she volunteered to do this. She came every day. She taught me how to read right-handed. She taught me how to read the alphabet. Eventually, she taught me how to cursive right-handed. And this woman's name was Mrs. Metcalf. And in Gainesville, Florida, today, there's a Metcalf Elementary School. And at the dedication for this elementary school, I told the same story. Mrs. Metcalf became my mentor for my whole life. And when I would come home from being away at college or in another town, when I would come back to Gainesville, I could always go to Mrs. Metcalf's house. And on her entranceway table, there would always be a book. And then her icebox would always be a sandwich with my name on it. So that's the story about how I became right-handed. You know? And my grandmother, she was so happy that I became right-handed. And to tell the truth, today I am really, totally